What's up guys, today we are going to be watching this video by Katie Pryor. It's called I Drank Raw Milk Every Day for 1 year, here's what happened.
Now this might sound crazy, but for the past year I've been drinking 4 gallons of raw milk every week, consistently every week. And I've loved every sip I've taken, and I've noticed tons of health benefits and improvements from drinking it. And this is a very controversial video because raw milk is considered one of the most dangerous foods that you can consume. And there's a lot of people who are skeptical about raw milk, claiming that it's no different than pasteurized milk. So if you're skeptical, you came to the right video, as I'll be diving into the science, the research, and my own experience with raw milk.
The fact that it is controversial means that most humans, aka NPCs, are fed the programming as NPCs, as lines of code that they are, that it's not good for you. And if the common perception is that it is not good for you, it is, because it is good, or at least better for you. Everything in this world is a lie, it's upside down. Nothing that comes from the mainstream is ever 100% true. It might be a half-truth, but never more than that. And I mean, it's always half-truth because it has to have some truth to it for people to trust it. And thank God he's going to share his own experience, because research and science and papers that are all biased, are all controlled, are all basically paid for to have a certain outcome, like anything else in this world.
To see if maybe this food deserves a place in everyone's fridge. So to start off, for those who don't know, what is raw milk? Raw milk is unpasteurized and unhomogenized milk. Most of the milk you find in conventional grocery stores goes through a process of pasteurization and homogenization. When milk is pasteurized, it's heated to a certain temperature for a certain amount of time, where it's meant to kill most of the foodborne illnesses that might be inside of raw milk. And
by the way, pasteurization is just another word for cooking. It has been boiled, it has been cooked.
Homogenization is a process that the milk goes through to basically make the fat particles smaller, so that way it mixes with the milk. If you let regular milk stand still, you'll see a separation and the fat rise to the top.
Yeah, the quote which is so famously used, aged like milk, doesn't even apply to raw milk, because if you just let the raw milk stay in the fridge for like a week and a half, the fat, the cream, will rise to the top, like it's telling here, and create a seal to protect the rest of the more liquid milk.
If you let regular milk stand still, you'll see a separation and the fat rise to the top. In the 1900s, as people in the United States migrated from rural areas to cities, milk from cows had to be transported longer distances and stored at higher temperatures than before. And as a consequence, milk-borne outbreaks accounted for about 25% of all disease outbreaks. So in 1987, the FDA passed a regulation that would basically mandate almost all milk to be pasteurized to prevent these outbreaks from happening.
If it comes from the FDA, you should trust it, because the government always has your back, especially when they recommended you to take one or several supplements after a certain virus was all around. I mean, there are viruses here, there are viruses here, there are viruses here. Everything in our life is full of micro-life, microbiome, microbes, bacteria. This has all synonyms. If I just licked here, I just filled myself with a bunch of viruses. Oh, how dangerous. All wild animals just leak from the floor. They are not thinking about it, because instinctively their programming doesn't bother them to be hygienic. I mean, you stand the worst chance of having health if you are hygienic, because you're never feeding your biome with a good amount of diversity. in probiotics, prebiotics, postbiotics.
And since then, almost every milk that you find in grocery stores usually goes through pasteurization and homogenization. However, there have been some states like California that have passed some regulations allowing the sale of raw milk in grocery stores. And then there also are some states that allow it directly from like a farmer, where you could go to the farm or go to a farmer's market and purchase.
There are also some places which sell raw milk in, for example, supermarket aisles for pets, and there are some countries even that, even though they don't sell in the typical grocery stores raw milk, they will sell raw cheeses. Very little, like imagine you have 20 cheeses and 2 of them like Pecorino Romano maybe, and Parmigiano Reggiano for sure. And then there's the Swiss one, which I cannot recall the name, which also is made from our milk, if I remember correctly.
Just it there. And there are some states that completely ban it. It is illegal in these states, and the people that drink raw milk there, I always picture like some dude in a car like driving up to a house, and they're looking around, and then he like pulls out the milk and he's like, oh, you got the good stuff, and it's like this illegal transaction. Now I do think that the pasteurization was a good thing for society.
I mean, look at this guy, he looks so healthy. I mean, it is working the wrong way.
During that period of time. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to drink any milk that's been sitting out in hot temperatures or transported in
I mean, one thing is to be transported or being stored in a facility where there is a bunch of chemicals and microplastics and whatnot, like a very artificial environment. But hot temperatures is the most natural thing in nature. Scavengers typically eat rotten meat always. I mean, I'm not talking about milk, of course, but most animal foods in the wild are sort of bad already. They have rotten, they have aged, they have gotten way more bacteria, they are unclean
ways.
And
so
it's not because of that you're not going to feel good.
It makes sense. However,
some people even purposely have their meat raw just to have some whatever benefits from the increased bacteria.
We've started to learn more about pasteurized milk and the dangers that it has on our body, and we even start to see a large trend of people not drinking any milk at all and opting for nut milks.
So this is an important part. Is independently of whatever studies say or don't say, soy feminizes people. Just look at the track record it has. Coconut is not terrible. It does increase your libido a little bit, as much as dairy does, because they have MCT fats. But then the zero fat versions of actual milk or dairy, whatever, yogurt, you don't have half of the vitamins, because you only have two sort of vitamins in the world. The vitamins within fat and the vitamins within water. When you get rid of the water in your meat, for example, you get rid of half of the vitamins. When you get rid of the fat in your meat, you get rid of the other half of the vitamins. Thus, overcooked, as in cooked, like there's anything under about cooking. Like a very brown steak or ground beef that is lean has zero vitamins. Then we have almond breeze. Almonds have cyanide. There are some rice, whatever milk alternatives. Rice has arsenic.
Almond milks or stuff like that.
Oats have glyphosate. I mean, every cereal in the world has glyphosate, has been sprayed with pesticides. I mean, you can argue that some farms, maybe in Europe, maybe in some whatever places, that produce organic grains have zero glyphosate in them, for as long as there are no spraying around their farm but that's quite rare, and still, I mean, any plant material will always have anti-nutrients.
But those also have came out being potentially harmful for our bodies. So the
I
argument
mean, just look at vegans. Do they look healthy?
to bring raw milk back into society has been a popular trend over the recent years, and more people are trying to drink raw milk versus conventional milk and noticing benefits from doing so.
Yeah, there are plenty of people who literally quit milk because they have asthma or because they have skin outbreaks, and they think it's because of the milk, because of this vegan propaganda. They believe it's because of the milk, but when they start, for as long as they don't have develop an intolerance, when you start consuming raw milk, you then realize, oh, it had nothing to do with the dairy itself. It had to do with the lack of enzymes, the lack of vitamins, the degeneration that was in the pasteurized and homogenized
Speaking of which,
milk.
let me take this inside because I don't want to get sick. Now, for a long time, I was against
I mean, it is in plastic, so it is probably a good idea not to have sun shine onto it. But if it was a glass, who cares? I mean, it's gonna age more quickly, but even if it rots, it's still healthy.
milk. Pasteurized milk did not work for me. I didn't feel good when I drank it.
You can't feel good on something which is completely denatured.
Also followed many different diets. I was vegan for a little bit. I tried paleo, keto.
It's so curious. You have Paul Saladino. He tried veganism, or at least vegetarian. This guy, me, a bunch of carnivore influencers tried veganism for a while. Even Goaties, Sverige, he was vegan for a while. Most proponents of high consumption of raw or at least slightly cooked animal foods were vegan at some point, which is very curious.
We could go down the whole list. And it wasn't until about a year and a half ago that someone told me about raw milk, and I decided to give it a shot. But I definitely was a little sketched out. It felt weird. I'm like, am I gonna get sick? Is it gonna taste weird? All of these things. After I had that half gallon, I fell in love. I really like the way that it made me feel. And on top of that, it tastes delicious. It doesn't have a weird
I mean, it has sugar, it has the lactose, of course it's delicious.
flavor. It's probably the best tasting milk that you can get.
I mean, it's not a coincidence that ice cream is one of the most popular desserts in the world.
Here, Cal, come and be in my video. Cal, what are your thoughts on raw milk?
It's delicious.
It tastes good. It tastes better.
It tastes extremely good. I mean, having like full fat raw milk, it's like one of the best things ever.
Yeah.
I think that it's super nutritious. It like, you know.
But what about the fat? I'm gonna get fat from eating a lot of fat. No. Fat leaves your body in a fat burning state. The consumption of sugar, whether it's a complex sugar, as in carbs, or simple sugar, as in honey, fructose, glucose, whatever, those leave your body in a fat storing metabolism. So you can eat 1.5 pounds, even more. I mean, you can eat like 1.5 kilos of fatty ruminant meat for a whole week, like straight away, like 2-3% of your body weight in food, like for a week straight, and not gain a single ounce more in your weight. But if you eat like 10 sweet potatoes for 2 days straight, you will increase like 4 kilograms in those 2 days.
Fills you up, satiates you, makes you feel good.
Raw milk contains every known fat and water-soluble vitamin in a bioavailable form. Fat-soluble vitamins A, D.
Bioavailability, aka your body being able to actually absorb it, is one of the most undervalued, underappreciated things in the nutritional world. They say, oh, beans and lentils have a lot of protein or whatever. Your body can't absorb it. Who cares? Only herbivores can, because they break down, they basically unlock them from the fiber, because that's where they are locked. Humans cannot do that because we are facultative carnivores. Sure, we have some ability to break down fiber, the one in fruits, but not the one in vegetables. I mean, at the very most, the one in tubers.
Decay are especially unstable, particularly when heated above body temperature, which can cause a loss of over 66% of these vitamins. Raw milk contains every known essential mineral, with the major players being calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, sodium, and sulfur. It also contains 24 vital trace minerals.
People
that
usually will say, oh, but you need to consume salt every single day. Animal foods have plenty of sodium. And by the way, salt is 60% chloride. Only 40% of salt is sodium.
Available. Although minerals can't be destroyed when they're heated, they can become unstable and lose a lot of their potency. As an example, calcium loses 50% of its potency when it's heated.
Calcium is what strong bones and teeth are all about.
All 60 known enzymes are found intact and
inactive, destroyed, damaged, inhibited. I mean, soy milk, almond milk, of course, none, of course.
fully functioning in raw milk. Raw milk contains all 22 amino acids, including 8 essential amino acids, which are the building.
I mean, it's not a coincidence that some tribes will live off weeks at a time just drinking raw milk and blood. You still need the iron.
Blocks of proteins. And one of the enzymes in raw milk that's super interesting is this thing called lactase. When you pasteurize milk, you lose this enzyme known as lactase, which is meant to help break down lactose. So people believe that this may be why individuals who cannot digest pasteurized milk can digest raw milk just fine, although it still depends upon your body and your biology. But I know for myself, pasteurization does not work for me. But the raw stuff does. And the list could go on. Raw milk really is a superfood. It has so many bioavailable forms of nutrients inside of it that are vital for us as we're trying to be healthy.
Although I should point out a caveat here, it increases your libido exponentially. So you'll be so horny that you can't even think. You can't even study, you can't even work because you're so horny. It messes up with your sexual hunger signals because it is meant to do so. It is meant to age you, it is meant to get you horny, it is meant to increase your hunger, because it is meant to make you grow as quickly as possible when you are a newborn until a weight that is more survival friendly.
And considering that a lot of our food in the modern day world, basically since the 1940s, has been losing its nutrient density, incorporating nutrient dense food, whether it's milk or other forms of food, might be important for getting your health back on track.
If you are below 19 as a woman or below 21 as a man, below or at, there's still room to grow, as in tallness. So, would I recommend you take raw milk or raw dairy? Sure. If you are underdeveloped, if you are a guy at 160, even at 170 centimeters, take as much as you can afford for this later period of your growth, because after 21 as a guy or after 19 so as a girl, you'll stop growing, your growth plates will close. So make sure you take advantage of this unrepeatable, it's like your last chance period of your life. Really do take advantage of it. But after that period of your life, if you have access to raw fatty meat from healthy animals, and everybody has access to ruminant meat, and even if you don't have access to fatty steaks, you have access to fatty ground beef, and then you have no excuse for having a low nutrition. Raw milk is for growth. If you have stopped growing, and is for health, sure, you don't need that part of growth. You just need a part of health, which you can replace 100% with fatty red meat from healthy
And the
animals.
last piece I want to quickly go over is homogenization. The homogenization in milk is actually pretty scary.
Pistons, they pump at very...
You're probably getting plenty of microplastics and heavy metals from this machinery.
opening.
The whole purpose of it, like I said in the beginning of this video, is to make the fat particle smaller so it mixes with the milk and it doesn't separate. And the process that it goes through to do this strips away the structure of the milk. And we have a lot of evidence that shows that because the fat particles become smaller than they should be, it can leak into the gut barrier and the bloodstream and cause things like leaky gut or other...
No, it cannot cause leaky gut. If you have leaky gut, sure, it can cross the leaks and go into your bloodstream, and thus your body will create antibodies against the proteins of whatever milk you're consuming, whether it's cow's milk or goat's or sheep's milk. It will create antibodies to it. Antibodies are basically mugshots. A criminal does something, the law enforcement takes a picture, and every time they see that face, they just go after him and they shoot. Your immune system does the same whenever it sees, even if that criminal now does no harm whatsoever, it is that face. If a guy that is just a lookalike shows up but is friendly, they are still gonna act upon that face. And your body is the same. Even if you now take raw milk in its natural form with full fat molecules, whatever, your body is still gonna identify the protein and attack it, whatever it is in your bloodstream, in your body, thus creating inflammation. That's what inflammation is, your body attacking itself. Leaky gut isn't and will never be caused by any animal foods, unless you want to talk about maybe some poultry or some pork, but not the poultry or pork meat itself, but the toxins that are in there from vaccines, from medication, from whatever those animals took. So what you have to understand is there are only two things in the world that cause leaky gut. Number one, diet heavy in pesticides. Every cereal, grain, vegetable, fruit that is not organic has pesticides in it. It has Roundup spray, glyphosate. Whenever that enters your gut, that causes openings in the gut lining, in the walls, thus creating leaky gut. And also, if you take a lot of medication, the same happens. You have to understand this is a vertically integrated market. They grab the seeds, the ancient seeds, and they GMO'd them and basically own the patents for them. They make foods like potato chips and whatnot that are sprayed with the spray they invented. Then you get sick. Because you get sick, you go to the doctor. And the doctor studied at the university, which was sponsored by, guess who? The pharmaceutical industry. Then you take the pharmaceuticals, and now you are even sicker. And now you need the doctors once again. And because you need to eat every single day, you're going to get some more glyphosate in your diet. And so there is a perfect cycle of death, which is the most intelligent business in the world.
Problems. Now the elephant in the room, the ultimate question that everyone wants to know, is raw milk safe? Or am I going to get some crazy illness or even just diarrhea from drinking it or whatever the case is? Is it safe to consume?
Is it safe to, most people in this world are NPCs. You eat potato chips on a daily and you're not bothered if they are safe. You consume chocolates on a daily and you don't bother if they're bad for you. You consume coffee, tea, a whole bunch of crap that doesn't exist in nature, that was made in a factory, a bunch of seed oils, a bunch of glyphosate every single day, and you don't bother. But now the milk, because you are an NPC and the world has programmed your little NPC bot brain with the idea that raw milk is dangerous. Ah, let me see. No, I don't want it. I'm gonna continue to drink boiled milk, and I'm going to continue to drink coffee and to eat my potato chips and my rice and my quinoa because they are all so much better. You have to understand that we live in a world of lies, of deception. This world is here as an aquarium for giants. It is here just like a battery in a Rick and Morty's car. We are here just to meet a quota of energy, and to make this quota of energy we need to produce a lot of emotional drama, and thus the people in charge of making sure we feel those have to lie to us, have to tell us the opposite of the truth. They have to tell us to eat vegan so that we live a more drama-filled life. They have to tell us to boil our milk so that we have a more drama-filled life. They have to tell us that vegetables are good for us so that we have a more drama-filled life. They have to tell us a bunch of crap that is not truthful. You cannot trust the government. You cannot trust the mainstream. You can only trust testimonies of people that you see have improved and are now in a more peaceful state. They are more at peace within themselves and others. That's the only thing you can trust.
Now, the safety of raw milk depends upon a lot of different variables. You need a farm that you trust. You need to make sure that they practice good sanitization, etc.
The most dangerous part about this is if they use plastic, then you get microplastics. If they use leaky metals, thus you get heavy metals. And if in the even if they use just glass, for example, if they clean that glass with very toxic products, or if it was just water and maybe some baking soda, some white vinegar or something, just using some detergents to clean the glass, and if it is not properly rinsed, then you are putting your milk, just like in restaurants clean their dishes with water and soap or whatever, but then there is spray the product within the plates, within the bowls. There is a dryer, and then you put food on top of the dryer it is basically a coating within your plate, just as much as Teflon is a coating within your fryer. It is not good for you.
Refrigerate it right, don't drink it if it expires, stuff like that. But
I mean, if it expires, who cares? In nature, everybody is scavengers, which we have the pH of. Tendentially eat plenty of rotten foods.
We've definitely been misled as far as how dangerous milk is, especially in the modern day world with the practices we do have.
Because
it was believed that raw milk was 150 times more dangerous than traditional milk. However, the data actually shows that it's about 9.4% more dangerous or more likely to get sick than pasteurized milk. Now, 9.4% might sound like a lot, but when you actually look at it, it's a very small amount.
And
if you have
like
0.00011% chance of getting sick from drinking pasteurized milk and a 9.4 times greater risk of getting sick from milk, raw milk, we're still talking about a minuscule risk of 0.00106%.
Think about it, they tell
and then if you
green
actually look
is
at
good for you, when actually green, I mean, if it's good for you, is to look at greenery, blue sky, wind, pure air, but to consume, it's red. You want red. It's always the opposite. It's always
Hospitalization caused from raw milk. You have a 1 in 6.
If people are getting hospitalized within 24 hours of consuming raw milk, it was not because of the raw milk. It might be because of the chemicals within the glass where the raw milk was stored. It might be because of other crap that they consumed. It might be from anything, not from the raw milk.
Million chance of getting hospitalized, not dying, but just hospitalized from drinking raw milk. No, hey, no.
Hello. Hi, Daddy. We're on camera.
Yeah.
We're gonna go buy some raw milk.
You're more likely to die in a car driving to get your raw milk than you are to just be hospitalized. Not death, but hospitalized from raw milk. Now, you still have to do your due diligence. Consult your doctor, speak with...
Never consult a doctor in your entire life. Just like I mentioned, he or she is a part of the biggest PSYOP, basically the biggest vertically integrated business in the world. It is incredibly dangerous to trust words in this world. It's how we get brainwashed. It's through words, through language. You can only trust your senses. If you have raw milk in front of you and you like the smell of it and you put in your mouth, you like the taste of it, consume it. The same with liver, with spleen, with the testicles, with the raw meat, the same with the raw fish, whatever. The same with cabbages, which if you trust your senses in the raw state of cabbage, you will not eat it because your tastes tell you not to eat it. The same with carrots, the same with herbs and seasonings and spices. If they are in their raw natural form and you trust your senses, your mind, your instinct will guide you to consume fruits and honey in the autumn, maybe some syrups or whatever, other sweets also. Eggs occasionally if you find them, because you cannot find them every single day, and meat throughout the whole year. Meat as in animal flesh, that includes fish. Nose to tail. If you have abundance, you choose the parts that you prefer more. If you don't have the abundance, you literally have to consume nose to tail. And that's it. KD or Cade, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, at least in one of the forms. This video, even though I haven't watched and won't watch till the end, was amazingly done. It is great to see that you have so much health, you are glowing, you look way better than I will probably ever look. Great thing that you are taking care of your health, great thing that you are promoting something so good, especially to the youth. I imagine you are like 21 or something. So a lot of your viewers will be younger, you will be teens, which is important for their growth within the age that they still can grow. I personally don't drink raw milk because I don't consume dairy because I don't like being horny. It distracts me from life. I like to be clear in my head. I have plenty of fertility without having to consume it. And to be honest, it's not like I can take advantage of it. I'm 28 already, so if I was 16, oh my god, I would drink like 2 liters, whatever, as much as I could drink every single day. I would buy as much as possible. And if I didn't have access to raw milk, I would buy raw cheeses because those are still available in my country. I mean, I could get indeed raw milk from the shepherds that live nearby. But if I didn't have access to neither of those, I would still eat a lot of raw ground beef for sure. That's my take. Have a great 2025, KD. Great video. I hope you make more videos about raw animal foods and their benefits, that you try them out and then you can make videos as great and as inspiring and as popular and mainstream as this one got. Congratulations. And to the 1, 2 or 3 viewers I will get in this video, thanks for watching.